And I thought to myself, I've got to stop. I can't live like this. This is not my world. I have to step out of this. And you know what? If you don't do it, nobody else can. But that requires a lot of strength. But you know in yourself, you cannot stay there another minute longer. So it's like the unknown is better than the known. So you have to step away.
Welcome, I'm Peter Williams, and for the past 10 years, I've been connecting with thousands of people from the stage and online to help them discover the importance of spiritual and energetic practices so they can thrive with confidence, clarity, and purpose. It is time to awaken your connection, align with your soul, and achieve your own inner power right here on the Inner Power Podcast. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Inner Power Podcast. And today is a very, very, very special episode because I am joined by the lovely, lovely Jayne. And Jayne is joining us from Bali, enjoying some R&R, and you'll understand also why. And I love that, the fact that, Jayne, you are taking some time out from your holiday to do this. It's just lovely to have you here. Just to give everyone a quick background of why this is so special, because believe it or not, Jayne is a client of mine. And I was just saying, and I was saying to you before and saying to you now, that you're the first client that I'm actually interviewing for the podcast. So how does that make you feel?
Excited. Great.
Excited. I know you're super nervous, but it's completely okay. She's like, oh my God, you really want me on the podcast? And I'm like, yes. I said, because what we were talking about and what happened, and to give you all the background here very quickly, is that I offer power sessions, which are my personal sessions. It's just a different way of doing it. And a power session is where it jumps in. I use all of my faculties. So I'm jumping in, I'm using my intuition, my psychic abilities, but I'm also jumping in mentoring, coaching, and giving you tools to empower you. So it's a whole big bundle of one, and it kind of jumps in. And we jump in, and, whoever books these particular sessions, they give me a quick prompt about what they'd like to work on or what's kind of troubling them at the time. And then I have a quick look into those, and then I get an insight and an energetic feel for where the person's at. Quite often I'm like, those questions have changed since you wrote them. And they're like, yes, how did you know? It's like, because I'm psychic. But the whole point is we jump into that. And I was having a wonderful, wonderful chat to Jayne. And at the end of it, I was like, I really would love to have you on and interview you for this. And I've also had the privilege of just quickly meeting her down at the Central Coast after a live stage show there. So thank you so much, Jayne. Thank you for being here. So what was really fascinating, so the first thing that I noticed, and I noticed that, and it was good because it was great confirmation for you, Jayne, was the fact that when we jumped on the call, straight away, I felt this amazing, light, clear energy with you. It was just like, I felt like you had really kind of like, you've gone through your backpack, as I call it, and you're going, don't need that. This is no longer good for me. I don't want this. And it's almost like you've just come so wonderfully focused, but in such a light way. It wasn't heavy, kind of going, I need to do this and I need to work through this and I need to reach this goal. It was none of this, what I call masculine or push energy. You were very much in this, like, I'm just in myself, in my power, and kind of working through this. You did kind of acknowledge going, yes, that's how I feel. So do you remember that feeling when we had a talk about that?
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. And did you find it was good confirmation from where you're at and kind of what was happening?
Well, yes, after so many years of not feeling light and in control of my own life, it's a good space to be in. Like, it's like, yes, I've done this. Like, I'm making it. It's happening. Like, life's good. That's how it felt. That's how it feels. Yeah.
And I say I love that. Even watching you, I'm like, it's even better watching because I've actually got you here. And as you're saying that, I can see you in that energy, feeling that energy, and it's so wonderful to see and feel. And that's what it was like. I was like, can we like bottle or jar this energy up and we can start sprinkling out and handing out to other people, because this is where it needs to be. And this is where it kind of needs to go. But, as we were talking, and this is why I really want to do it, because your own personal journey, like, it hasn't been easy to get here, has it?
Oh, no, no. My own personal journey has been tough, and I can acknowledge other people's journeys have also been tough. And I have had to put one foot in front of the other. I have had to get out of the miseries and keep the faith and just keep moving forward. I have had to keep a really strong support network to keep myself going. And, you look back sometimes and you think, how did I get here? What happened? What did I do wrong? Why is life so hard? And, I've spent 48 years as a hairdresser.
48 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hair.
It's a lot of hair. It's a lot of people too.
It's a lot of people. That's a lot of people's energy because I think a lot of people don't understand because, you're actually touching people's hair and head. You will be getting, whether you believe in this energy or not, we're all energy, you'll be getting into their energy and feeling that whether they're talking to you or not, you're going to be in that space as well. So 48 years of working like that's pretty intense.
It can be, especially when people come in and they might have lost a loved one or something. You feel their misery, their sadness, their loss, and all those types. And you'd work really hard to lift them up, and not just to help you, but you're just that extra support person to help them through. And sometimes you go home with that energy following you, I'm sure, and because you just can't lift yourself out of the doldrums sometimes, but. Yeah, yes, there's a lot of people over 48 years and a lot of energy is being spent in.
And so it's just kind of coming for that. So hairdresser for 48 years, but that's not all that you're doing. Where are you doing that? Because I love this because it's just like, this is where if anybody who's in my world or you've gone, we have to really trust what's coming through for us because it's like, I'm thinking, this is like, you can say that, but I'm like, I'm seeing this and I'm seeing papers and I'm seeing lots of writing. I'm seeing lots of structure and all this kind of stuff. So what is it that you're doing at the moment?
Okay, what I do at the moment, I actually write. I'm a quality control officer and I check all the assessments and learner workbooks for TAFE New South Wales. So I go through with a team of other quality control people and check how they create questions, how they write knowledge into workbooks, and I write them myself sometimes as well. In many industries, I've done Diploma of Aero Skills in Mechanical, Diploma of Nursing, I've written child studies, I've written how to be a butcher. There's all sorts of things that I've had to learn with the teachers. I don't have all that knowledge, but I do learn some as I go along and find it absolutely fascinating. And yeah, it's a lovely place to be. But as you said, that's what I do now. I've come from being the hairdresser and being the beauty therapist to working in jewellery, manufacturing jewellery, and doing some mentoring at some cases, and teaching, and now from TAFE teaching in hairdressing too is into this. So it's been a journey. But I love it. It's great now. I really like where I am. It's great.
It is, and coming back to it because it's great, and like I think this is the thing. Like you can 100% genuinely say that it's great and I'm loving this now, but that's not always been the case, has it?
Oh God, no.
Hang on, before we jump into that, I want to ask, okay, so we're 100% genuinely saying that and we can acknowledge that it hasn't been great all the way along. So getting to the crux of it, what do you personally think or believe helps create the change to help someone who has, like that's me, we all go through journeys and they're not always pleasant, but what is your biggest thing? What's been your real like epiphany moment to help you to get yourself to this space and that might help others get you to the energy that you're in now?
Well, I think it's been growing for a lot of years because once I was in the hairdressing industry, as you know, it's a service industry. So every day of your life and multiple days of your life, you're asking people, what do they want? How can you help them? How can you support them? So you spend your life being the gopher, being the person that meets their needs. So when you take that home, and you're in a relationship, you tend to take the same thing with you. You tend to be that gopher person, that fix-it person, that you're always nurturing other people for the whole time. But what you don't do is remember yourself. You forget yourself. So in all of that, you just forget who you are. So after many, many, many years of doing hairdressing, and it was just not long ago, and I was also in a very bad relationship, that was very narcissistic. And I thought to myself, I've got to stop. I can't live like this. This is not my world. I have to step out of this. And you know what? If you don't do it, nobody else can. But that requires a lot of strength. But you know in yourself, you cannot stay there another minute longer. So it's like the unknown is better than the known. So you have to step away. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go back to my family home and work it out. And when I say work it out, I took a couple of years of reflecting, educating myself, learning that some of these things were not my fault, these behaviours. And through that time, I thought, I've transferred that behaviour. I have been the hairdresser. I've been everything to everybody else, but what about me? What about me? Who am I? Who am I? And suddenly I found who I was, and I wasn't to blame, and I wasn't to be manipulated anymore, and I wasn't to be lied to anymore, because you know what? I'm actually a loyal, honest and responsible person. And, I should be surrounded by like-minded people like that. And so it began a journey of finding out who I was, but taking the time not to jump into other relationships, but to find joy in small things, walking the dog, feeling the sun on your back, being lucky to be alive and being in Australia and not in the Ukraine. Like, you've got to find all these things to remain positive about and build on those and be grateful. But for me, I had to find the lesson in all of this too. For me, I had to keep thinking, why do these things keep happening? Like, I'm going to say multiple narcissistic relationships. I'm going to say always serving people, but not learning to be assertive. I just didn't get it. So it took me a long time, and I hope it doesn't take other people as long as it took me. But, you can do it, and it just takes work. But it's that when you do the work, and it's taken me a couple of years to get here, but you do the work and it pays off. Like, to get to where I am now, and I'm not saying I'm a multimillionaire, I'm just happy. Like, I'm happy.
And you can see it. I love it. Like, just seeing you. Like, that is 100% genuine happiness. And that's what when I connected with you on the phone call, I'm like, I just get this vibe. Like, you're really in this beautiful, wonderful space, and just seeing you, like, you're happy. And I think, and I love that clarification. It's not like, again, it comes down to what's happiness. And I think, like, seeing you, even just talking about it, it's like, that's happiness. Like, it's not, everybody's got a different version of what it possibly may look like, and that's me. I suppose when you look back at yourself looking forward, you probably never saw this version of yourself, probably. Is that, would that be a fair assumption?
Oh, totally, totally. Like, it's almost some days you pinch yourself because you think, wow, my life's so good. I'm so happy. I've got great friends. I've got great family. I love the work I do. I love the life I lead. Like, it's so spontaneous. Like, a friend said, oh, we're going to Bali in a couple of weeks. I said, I'll come. I'll come. Budget deal. I'll come. And then, there's a wedding here as well that we're attending. But, yes, I'll come. But, yeah, all things melded into one around the wedding, and so everything sort of sorted out. So that was really good, and it was like, why not? Yeah, I had to go then, but I didn't want to miss out with them either, so it was all into one.
And I love that. It's and so, like, you could say, in a sense, like, one, you're happier, but you can see there's, like, and it's interesting in that you almost, I did notice there before, you're talking about how obviously in the past you weren't within yourself feeling somewhat more assertive in your relationships or in your everyday life, realistically. And you can see also the change in that, because we're going to Bali. Well, I can come too. Like, there's that, like, but isn't it amazing? You're not doing it, like, you are being a little bit more assertive, but not necessarily in an overbearing way. You're kind of like, hey, here's an opportunity. I'll look if it's from, you know what I mean? Like, there's a huge difference in that immediate, space for you. Just there talking to you. I love this. This is what I love about it. Now, it's interesting, like, I love that you're very encouraging with your words and saying, hey, guys, there's work to be done, but you can do it. Now, I know that a lot of people can get probably overwhelmed and somewhat disheartened about that level of work, like going, where is there light at the end of the tunnel? And look, some people might say, well, I do. Hey, Jayne, hey, Pete, we've got light at the end of the tunnel, but it's about the size of a twinkling star, 20 million light years away. So, what's the point? How do I make that light a bit brighter? Now, you mentioned simple things of, like, finding that, the happiness or the gratitude in your life. But you talked about a lot of reflection. What other steps or things that you might be able to help break down for people who might be in a similar position for yourself? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but it's like, is there anything else there that you can recall that, because I know for myself, like when you said that, talking about walking the dog and finding the little things, they are so important, because I know when I was in that space, very similar, where things were not good and it wasn't great, it was going to the beach and finding the simple things of gratitude that flipped everything around for me. That was the start of my building blocks. It really, really was. And I love that, because I can totally relate to that. And it's always my go-to. If things are really turn around, what have I got? Hang on to what I've got. Let's focus the mind on the positive. But for you, getting like steps further past that, gratitude and thankfulness, what else was there for you?
Well, there was a lot of meditation for me and self-reflection on how I could do things better. But to get to that, I had to learn. So I was often on YouTube watching podcasts, coming to sessions like your own, reading spiritual books. I spent a lot of time looking outward, out from me, to sort of see what else is out there, what else life is about. And I know that sounds broad, but it's like sometimes we live in this little microcosm of our own life. Like you live in this location, so you only go to that centre or that shopping centre. So for me, it was like, what on? It's such a route. It was funny. Right?
Get out of the postcode, people. Get out of the postcode.
Back in your bubble where you live. Like, get out of it. And so I had to find that I had to reach out beyond that. I had to, they say there's that old saying, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you don't step out of what you've always done, you can't expect your life to change, because you're going to do what you've always done and it's not going to serve you. You have to look further, and you have to talk to people, because people are great with knowledge. They want to share knowledge. They want to impart that knowledge, and they also want to help you. Like if they're good people, they want to help you. So they're guiding you, and they go, oh, you should go to see this person, or you should go over to that location, or you should listen to this on YouTube. And that's what I did. I listened to lots and lots of people. And honestly, I was gobsmacked. I was like, wow, look at this. Oh, man, I can do this. This is cool. I'm going to have a go at this. And honestly, my world just opened up. It started to diversify in all sorts of different areas. I started to read books I never thought I was going to read. I started to do things I never thought I'd do, because, you know what? I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I had the skills. I didn't think I had the knowledge to study in a certain way. I didn't think I had lots of things. So I really didn't value myself. So a lot of this was personal growth, about learning who I am as a person. And yes, you might be honest and reliable and all these things, and you know that, but sometimes you don't, even though you demonstrate it, you still don't believe it about yourself. You really need somebody's validation to go, you're a great, honest person, or you're a really responsible person. Why? I don't know that. I don't know the answer to why I needed it, but I did, and I guess I expected it but never got it. So I felt like I wasn't achieving, I guess. But so, that I sort of reached beyond the normal scope of what I would normally do. So I just tried to change it further. So added a few more tools to the toolbox.
Yep. And so when you're talking about taking yourself outside that comfort zone and leaving your postcode, clearly you've left the postcode, you've left the country. We're having this interview with you in a totally, this would be the furthest thing going, I'm being interviewed for a podcast and I'm in Bali. Yeah. Like, you like talk about outside the comfort zone, right? But I love it. And it's just so empowering to hear the story. But it's interesting, and obviously, I like that because, you're talking about there how, I think it's a big thing. And I think because we kind of grow up that, and especially as kids, we very much rely on a lot of external kind of gratification and we need that praise. We need that kind of attention because that tells us whether we're, things are good or bad. That's just the way we kind of scope it. But as we get into adulthood, clearly, people go, I shouldn't have to tell you that you're doing a good job every day. You should know that you're doing a good job. Are you doing a good job? Well, then you're doing a good job. It's funny how we take that, but and that's sometimes, like you said, that can take, if we're seeking that or needing that kind of approval or gratification or from outside sources and we don't get it, it does shrink ourselves, I believe. But like you said, then you have to kind of go, well, I need to do it for myself and find yourself. When you talk about taking yourself outside that comfort zone, and trying these new things, obviously reading books, where else? Was there anything specific? When you're looking at that and you're going into those memories, what's one memory that really pops into your mind and says, oh, I couldn't believe I was there. I just did it on a whim, and I'll never forget that moment.
Gosh. Oh, stop.
What's the first one that comes to your mind? Come on, don't think about it. Just get into that memory, get into that feeling.
So the first time tell me again, you want that first one?
So the first thing that you did, there's this memory, the first memory that comes to your mind, doesn't have to be the first thing that you did, but the first memory that comes to your mind where you go, that really cemented and going, yeah, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm doing something different, and I'm really enjoying life right now.
Well, it was funny. I was on holidays in Thailand, actually, in March this year.
Did you? Okay, awesome. Yep.
I was visiting my brother over there, and I hadn't seen him since before COVID. And he came up to me and he said, I didn't nearly recognise you. And I said, what? I said, I look the same. And he said, no. He said, I thought you were someone else. He said, you were standing up straighter, you were moving quicker. He said, sis, what have you done? And I thought that was it, my brother who I hadn't seen in that time. And I thought, wow. Oh, my God, that is that much? Have I really changed that much? And I thought, I must have. I'm standing up straight and I'm doing it, aren't I? Like, here I am. Woo, here I am. You know, after 2 years and I hadn't seen him, and I thought, wow, I remember. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest ones.
Wow. Now, talk about like almost irony or perfect synchronicity in its own way, because all those years before, you're looking for this external appreciation and gratification to value yourself. And then you're valuing yourself and you're not worried about it. And then when you're not worried about it, you go to visit your brother in Thailand and he acknowledges it. And all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, I'm not different. And it's amazing how you took it. Like, you're like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, it's really weird. Like, that's nice, but you're like, it doesn't really matter to me now, but I'll take it. I love that.
You don't even, exactly right. You don't even think of it. Like, you're just doing it because you're happy, you know, like you're happy. You're on holidays. You're happy. You're seeing your family. You're happy. But when he said you're standing stronger, he said, you're different, you know, you're different. That was later on. He said, you're different. He said, what's changed? And I said, I'm happy. I'm happy for the first time in my life. I am happy. And you know what? I don't have a partner at the moment, and I'm not seeking one because it's all about me. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's all about me and my growth at the moment and my happiness and my choices. And that's never been my mantra. It's always been other people. But you know what? I've got to honour my life experiences. I've been through the bad, and I could go on and on and on about that, to the point where my brother-in-law used to laugh at me and say, oh, my God. He said, how do these things happen to you? He said, you should write a book and sell it home and away. He said, they'd have material forever.
Sell it to Home and Away. And just for those who are not aware, Home and Away is like our absolute staple soapy here in Australia that runs 7 p.m. on Channel 7 all the time. And it's like, it's that kind of like real... I don't even know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just that staple soap, and I love that. Sell your script to Home and Away, they'll have another 10 years of material. Oh, that's funny.
And don't worry. There's been times where I've thought, oh, maybe I could do that, because it just kept happening. It was like a snowball, crash and burn. But you know what? Crash at the bottom, and up you come. Because you know what? When you hit the bottom, the only way is up. And it's one foot in front of the other, step by step by step, and be grateful for where you are, and step and step and step. And don't look back. Just keep going. Just stay positive, work hard, and you know what? Just love yourself. Love yourself enough. Not in that egotistical way where, oh, look at me. But value yourself is probably the better way to put it. Value who you are, because it's important, you know. It's important that you be validated for your life, because your life's worth living, worth acknowledging. You know, you're a person, you're a human on this planet, and yeah, we get thrown up all these challenges every day, and you know, you just got to work with them. But for me, it was step by step, and try and find the lesson in each one. Try to find the positive. If it's a real dark and dreary day, try and find something nice about it, and just keep staying positive, not dark and dreary day. But it's a dark and dreary day. That's okay. Rack a raincoat on, get the dog out. Let's go for a walk. Don't stop. Just keep going. Keep going. It'll happen. And you get happy. You get happy.
You get happy. I love it. You know, what's the result of all this work, Jayne? You get happy.
Yeah, your story, your glory. You get happy. You get happy. It's cool. It's really cool. And as I said, it's the happiest I've been in my life, and that's a rather long life. So don't let it take as long as me. But it's doable. It's completely doable, and it's up to you.
Now, I don't want to dampen the mood, but I've been kind of clued in. But it's interesting because I know people listening and go and that's what I loved about it. Like, as soon as we connected on the phone, your energy was infectious. I was like, whoa, I love this energy. Feel it was so vibrant, so open, so clear. It was great. And you talked about having the bottoms. And I know people listening to this will go, I know they'll be saying, I want to be Jayne. I want to be where Jayne is, right? And they will be, because they're going, they'll hear that message. And I couldn't have said that any better than myself. But I think where my mind was going, if I was listening to this and I might be one of those people, they might go, so Jayne, I don't know, my life's pretty tough right now. You know what? I'm down. I'm down of downs. But you talked about hitting bottom. So how do I know this is the bottom, if there is a bottom? In your personal experience, how would you, if I was someone going, I love that and I want to have what you've got, Jayne, I want to follow that path, but I don't know where I am on this. Am I bouncing out of it? Have I hit the bottom? I don't. What would you be saying to someone if they're asking you this?
Well, firstly, you need to talk to someone, and that's in anyone. That's a person who will give you the time and who will sit and truly listen to you. And I have built a very good support network, and probably 4 or 5 people that were there each time I felt myself spiraling down. I would give them a call, and I would just talk to them, and they'd talk to me, and and they tell me it's okay. And one lady, one of my beautiful friends, she came over to my house, and she came into my bedroom where I was curled up in a fetal position and crying my eyes out because I thought, I just can't do this anymore. And she laid on that bed with me and cuddled me and said, you will be fine. You are going to be great. And she told me all these great things about me, my personality, how I help other people, and limitless things. She went on and on and on. And some of them started to resonate with me. And I thought, and suddenly I came a little bit straighter, and I sat up in bed, and then we sat on the bed and we talked together. And I didn't want her to leave because she was a bit like my support person. And I didn't want her to go. I didn't think do it without her, but she left. She left in her own time, and of course I've showered and off to bed. But I probably slept the best that night because there was somebody there that truly listened, that truly heard my words, and knew that I was in a dark place. But she helped me lift, and she helped me lift that little bit where I didn't want to stay curled up, and away from the world. And I think that's the beginning. I think you need to have that person or somebody that you can use as a sounding board, but will listen to you and your story. And I do believe that's probably key. It was for me. I needed to have that person around. And now I have multiple people around that are like that. And I'm repaying that debt to another friend who found themselves in a situation like myself that I found it. And it was a tough one, and she had been in a very dark space, and she was spiralling downward and downward. So I reached out to her, and I've had her step through, and now she stepped away from that very negative situation. And yeah, her legs are a bit wobbly, and sometimes, she needs a bit more help, but she's going to get there, She did it. She stepped away, and we've supported her. There's a group of people, myself and others, that are supporting her through this, and it's working. Like, she's smiling these days. She's smiling. She's not in that perfect, well, not what is perfect, but she's not in that place, her goal place, let's say, but she's on her way. And she's smiling again, and the weight is lifting off her shoulders. So it's so important to have people, that support network there. But along that way, you've also got to understand that you've got to do some of this work as well yourself. So you've got to look inwards and go, I am a good person. I can do this. I'm capable. I'm fortunate I've got these great friends and support system. I'm a valuable human being. I'm a good person. Like, you've got to start to believe those things. And that was part of my learning in the end. I started to think, well, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah, not bad. And, and you start to like yourself.
I love the way you so casually say that, Yeah, you start to like yourself a little more each day. But I think I love that, though. No, I really do, because like the way you talk about that, because even as you were saying that, I could really sense the journey, even for yourself. And I think that's such a valuable thing. Like you're saying, you need that support network. At least need one person. And I love that. And you actually said they truly listen to you.
Mm.
And there's a big difference, because we know there's, people who will hear you versus people who will actually listen to you. And there's a fundamental difference in that. And I love that. You was very, very naturally highlighted they truly listen to you. But I like that, because then you're saying it's like step by step, you're gradually liking yourself. And I like that because you had that support to start with, just to lift you a little bit. But then you're saying that along that, then, like you said, you have to do your work, and you're having to build up that resilience with inside yourself. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. You've got to participate in this. You can't just call that support person all the time. You've got to start to do the work. That's what I mean by the work. You've got to get out there and have a go at this, and and then you can report back to that person and go, hey, I did this. Hey, woohoo! And okay.
Well, celebrate. You got to celebrate the wins, don't you know? You just don't focus and talk about the negative stuff. You got to celebrate the wins. Yeah.
That's it. That's very important, that you do celebrate all those wins. And I guess it's a little bit when you're trying to lose weight, or maybe you're trying to restrict your alcohol consumption or something along those lines. And you've got to celebrate the wins. You must, because that just builds some sort of energy in you, or some power. Because it's like, I did that. Like, cool, I'm on the way. Like, and that's how it is. Like how it was anyway for me, and probably will remain being like that. I tend to strive to do things now that I've never done before, and I like it. At work, I say I want to learn something new every day. I don't care what it is, whether it's, you do a little technique on the keyboard that makes something better, or, you learn about somebody else's life, or you listen to them, but you want to learn something new every single day, because the more you do know, you might have 100 degrees in everything, but the more you do know, the more you realise the less you know, because there's just such a big world. You'll never know everything. You'll never know everything. So every day, my lesson to me, my thing for me was, I must learn something new every day. And that's what I live by now, then to just expand. Yeah.
Expansion of the love of yourself, the expansion of prioritizing yourself, as I said, in that real positive sense, not in the negative sense, and obviously learning and growing. And I think that's just a beautiful way, because learning something new, and I can honestly say, even again, by talking with you again today, I've learned something new myself, and I'm sure that our listeners and viewers have also learned something new today. And again, I just want to say a huge thank you for taking time out of your holiday, being in your happy time and sharing some happy vibes with us here, everyone doing it. But I can absolutely assure you that your story and your insight, it is inspirational. And I know that the listeners and viewers get something out of it. And if you are listening, you're watching, I always say, if this has helped you, listening to Jayne has helped you in any shape or form, please just leave a comment there, and that way I can screenshot that and I'll forward that to Jayne, because I always say, if it has helped you, let them know, because that encourages them, and that lets them know that it is important, and it kind of just encourages and gives that thing of going, keep sharing the story, because it's so important. And I think I love this, because you're at this space, Jayne. You found your voice, you found yourself, you found your happiness, and I love it, and I loved your story. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey with us here today.
Thanks, Pete. I've loved being here, and thank you for allowing me to share my journey. And I hope just one word might vibrate with somebody and help them. That would be great. That would be cool.
And that's all we can ask for. Thank you so much. And of course, enjoy the rest of your holiday.
I'm off. I'm off down the beach now, swimming.
Awesome. And of course, to all our listeners and viewers, if you're watching, you can see Jayne. Hopefully you can take a little bit from her. And of course, guys, just keep smiling. And we look forward to catching up with you in the next episode.